Hello, and welcome to my living room. You are on a cereal bowl, and I would like to talk to you about what I read this month, what I read last month. So this is going to be the May reads. So a few years ago, I decided that I was going to read the Chemical Gardens series by Lauren DeStefano, and I decided I had mixed feelings about it. I wasn't like it had give. I had some interest in it, but I there was parts that I just didn't like. The first book was Wither, and then fast forward to now. I was trying to see. So it was published in 2011, and it's very 2011. Just the dystopia of it all. It reminds me a lot of like The Uglies and books like that. Looks like I read it in 22, October of 22, and I gave it a 3 stars. So that kind of tells you where I was at with it. Well, I was thinking about it again, and I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and read the second book. So I went ahead and picked up the second book, which is Fever, and boy, did I struggle with it. It's got what a solid 3.5 stars on each one of them. So it's Wither, Fever, and Sever. In the first book, you have Rhine, Rhine, and in this world, females, not women, females have the lifespan of 20 years, and males have a lifespan of 25 years. And so they are trying to figure out why this is happening. And so, in this world, men have multiple wives because they need to have as many offspring as they can. And so she has a twin brother, and they get separated after her parents die, or her parents, I think they were working on a cure for it or working with the government or something. It's been so long. And so they die, and then her and her brother get separated, and she is gets picked up and is in a lineup. Well, the girls that get picked get to go off and be wives, and then the girls that aren't picked are led somewhere else, probably to be like a concubine kind of situation. So, in the first book, she gets to find out a little bit more because she's like an upper class wife, and so she just is locked up on the second floor with the other sister wives, and some of them are younger. She's 16. She's got one that's younger than her, and then she's got another one that was captured with her or sold into marriage with her, who I do believe was in one of those concubine camps. And then there's another one that was already there, and she's older and was like the favorite wife. She was uh 20, and so she was dying of whatever kind of thing was going on. I think so in 2012 we were very aware of global warming and the toxins like microplastics and the toxins that we were putting in our bodies that weren't being regulated as well as they should have been and things like that. So it's very much a product of its time, but not like too far off. But in especially when I read it the first time in 2022, it read more like a anti-vaxxing novel, which I'm not an anti-vaxxer, so that was not like a favorite of mine. But it was an interesting story. When I read it again, or when I read the second one this last month, um, this one focuses on she and this boy that she had fallen in love with while she was a wife. They ran away and they end up getting taken to this camp, and it is actually a camp of the concubine people, and it's like an ooh, hey, come back. Um, look over there, that's messy. It's not for you. And it's an old, not circus, but it's very circus vibes. But it's an old, like fairgrounds kind of situation. There's a Ferris wheel and a bunch of tents. There's a bunch of tents and stuff like that. Well, all the girls are high on drugs and don't really know what's going on around them. The woman who is running it is one of the, I forget what they call them. The people who aren't going through this metamorphosis, this change where it limits their lifetime. So they are older. They're like the older generation, the original generation, generation one. I don't know. And I was listening to the audiobook. There's no way for me to check it out, like go thumb through a book and look. Or I gotta be honest, I don't even care that much. Well, they meet some people and who end up helping them run. Oh, I don't even think that I finished all of this. I think that I ended up having to DNF it because it was so bad. Or if I did finish it, I probably should have just went ahead and DNF'd it because I don't remember the ending. But shit hits the wall. The people from so not her husband, but like her husband's keeper or whatever, shows up and is trying to get her back, and so she runs off. It was very much a fever dream if we want to go ahead and play into the pun of the title. So I didn't enjoy that one. So we can move on. Very, very weird series. I ended up giving that book 2 stars. So I had to have finished it. I don't know. So if I start a book, I will mark a if I get over 50%, then I mark it as read because I put in the effort. I am getting if it's 51%, I put in the effort in that book. I'm marking it read. But it's marked 2 stars. That makes me think that I did finish it. I just don't remember. I don't remember what happened, but it wasn't a so it must have not been I must have finished it. Anyway, moving on. I'll put it I'll put I want it right here. Why? Okay. Okay, moving on. The next book that I read in May was called Heartless Hunter, The Crimson Moth #1 by Kristen Ciccarelli. I don't know how to say that. Ciccarelli. Ciccarelli? I don't know. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. The first of all, the cover is beautiful. I'll put the cover up for you to see. The magic system in here is chef's kiss. Love it. Very different. So in this, you have to have some kind of blood in order to cast a spell, and so a lot of these witches will carry around casting knives. I think is what they call them. I like to think of it as like what's the little thing for fencing? It's not really a sword, it's just a toothpick kind of thing. I like to think of that, but like letter opener size, and that's what they used. But like they would just like have like just little bits of blood. And then every time that you would draw blood for magic, even if like you were the witch and then you use my blood, um, that would leave a casting scar on me and it would be silvery. And so they would do it very methodically to where it would create beautiful artwork on the bodies, basically like a tattoo situation. And it sounds beautiful, and the different people a lot of people I guess would do it having something to do with their casting sigil. Our main lady, in a way, it's like a witch's calling card. Anytime that she casts a spell, it will be there. And so she, in this world, the witches are illegal. I guess the witches were the original ruling class, and they had done they had treated people without magic very cruelly. And I whistled a little bit there. That was fun. But they had treated the humans or the people without magic very cruelly. And so there was an uprising. They went and killed the witches in charge, and then everybody, all the other witches, once they were discovered, were hanged by their feet, and then their throats were slit so that all of their blood would run out, and then they would be burned, I think. So Rune is a witch. She didn't think that she was going to be a witch. She was orphaned as a child, brought to an old lady who took care of her, and she calls her grandmother. Pretty sure that's what she oh my gosh, it's just for reference, it's June 13th, and I read this May 8th. So it's been a little bit. So for me to be able to remember as much as I do is actually kind of impressive. Not to toot my own horn or anything. The grandmother is discovered, and she has to turn her in so that she doesn't get burned. That's what the grandmother wants to happen. So she does, and then her grandmother gets killed in front of her, and she regrets that. She knows that that's what her grandmother wanted her to do, and she knew that that's what she had to do in order to survive. This is before she knew she was a witch, obviously, because she didn't think she was a witch. And so then she just starts acting like a silly debutante because her grandma was well off, and she got the whole estate and the house and all the money and stuff like that. She ends up befriending young lad, ends up befriending somebody her own age, and he's in love with her. And um, she gets her period one day. I guess witches have their first bleed. The first menstrual cycle is black, and like it just seeps through her dress and it just won't stop. And so she locks herself in the bathroom, and it was at his house. He's like freaking out and thinking that she's hurt or something. Well, she lets him in, and he vouches for her and takes care of her and is very nice. His brother is a big witch hunter, and so he keeps her secret even when she starts doing her vigilante work to like rescue the other witches and stuff like that, which is why she does puts on the dumb debutante show for everybody so that she can hide her real interests and nobody will suspect her. Well, Gideon, her friend's brother, is a huge witch hunter and is accredited with killing one of the witch queens or whatever, is determined to kill all the witches. And so he thinks that she might be the Crimson Moth. And so he tries to get close to her. And she thinks that if she married him, that, or or at least got close to him, then she could continue to lead him away from her and and get more information about the witches that they do capture. So they've got this fun little game that they play, and they end up falling in love. And it is heartbreaking and such a good book. Highly recommend. I would give it 10 stars if I could. Um, so good. It came out last year, so in February 2024. And so then I did end up reading the second one, and that one came out this year, and it came out in February. Okay, so last year it came out February 20th. This year it came out February 18th. So we can go ahead and talk about I didn't read the second one right after that, but it's another 5-star read, and it's called Rebel Witch. Give me a second because maybe I combine the two stories between those. I, I mean, I probably won't talk about the second book. I don't think I'll talk about the second one because I think that I'm going to have a hard time talking about the second book in the series without getting spoilers. Because that one is more about them falling deeper and deeper in love with each other, but like still having to play this dance of will he kill her, won't he kill her? Because this one starts off with him actively trying to kill her, and they end up having to, she ends up conning him into sailing back to their continent together. They have to do a bunch of stuff to help write everything. And yeah, so I think that's all that I'm gonna say because I don't want to give too many spoilers. And like it's all like rushing back to me, but I don't I don't want to spoil anything for you. So those two books were 5 stars, and I will probably read them again. But yeah, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 would 100% recommend those books. And then I read The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guanzon. I'm killing that name. I know I am. There are two books in this series, and I think that they might be German in origin. I don't know quite for sure, and I know that there's a very easy way for me to find that out. Um, I don't wanna. Um, but the first time that it's gonna be a trilogy, and the only reason why I know that is because it says trilogy in German, and that looks an awful lot like trilogy in English. I think it's German in origin because when I first borrowed the audiobook from Hoopla the first time, it was in German. And I was like, that's not going to do me any good. Now, my two semesters of, well, my 2.5 semesters of uh, college German is not going to get me through this book, especially when that was over 10 years ago. That was over a decade, so it's not going to work. So then I found I had to do uh, borrow another book from Hoopla, audiobook from Hoopla to get the correct one. I had to like do some searching in order to find it in English, but I found it. It's called Monsoon Ri Oh, nope. First one is The Hurricane Wars, which is also the Hurricane Wars series. And then the second one is Monsoon Rising. So we'll just talk about both of them. This woman named Taliesin is another orphan, and she had grown up on the streets. And well, she was in an orphanage, and that was so bad she ran away, and then had grown up on the streets, just trying her best. Well, her country is a warring country and had been for Henry. Henry, I'm talking. Don't interrupt me. Oh, you can see him there. Yeah, he's a bad boy. Very handsome though. Anyway, so she ends up being a warrior and ends up fighting this man named Alaric. He ends up being the prince. And in this, he's got magic dark powers, shadow powers. It ends up that she has magic light powers, magic sun powers or something. And so, of course, they keep running into each other, fighting each other. And then she finds out that she is actually a princess of a place that has stayed hidden during, not really hidden, I guess, but like kind of hidden. They don't get into any conflicts or anything like that. They're always neutral, and they want to stay that way. They have flourished, and they are there's got to be a more academic way to say rich as hell. They're a very wealthy and well off nation. But her people, her that she grew up with anyway, are losing a battle and they have to be hidden. And so she goes back to her birth people, the well off people, and it's her grandmother. She finds her dad and her grandmother. The grandmother is the queen. It's a matriarchal society. And they decide that, yes, we will hide your people for you, but you have to be our queen. And she's like, well, I guess I'll take one for the team, because it's such a hardship. They end up making her marry, you guessed it, Alaric, Prince Alaric. Chaos ensues. I enjoyed this series. It was good. Or these two that I got to read. It was good. I gave them both 4 stars. I will be reading the third book whenever it comes out. Hopefully, it comes out this year. That would be really nice, actually. If you give me a second, I'll find out if it's really German or not. Wow, it won Goodreads Choice Award nominee. Oh, it was a Goodreads Choice Award nominee for Romantasy in 2023, and then Libby Award nominee for Best Romantasy in 2024. Which, yeah, well, I would say Crimson Moth first. It's a debut novel, novel, so that's exciting. Oh, in the Philippines. Weird. Wouldn't have guessed that because I guessed German. Oh, she's very pretty. That's that. And then I'll be moving in a year down to Texas, and I've got a huge amount of books, and I don't want to move all of my books if I'm not going to read all the books. This is a great time for me to start weeding out the ones that I don't want to move to a whole new state. So I tried to read a book that I have tried to read before and couldn't get through it. Never Trust a Rogue. It's an heiress in London book in the series by Olivia Drake. It's a beautiful cover. Still couldn't do it. It was a little it was a lot sexist and I hated it. So DNF that one. Couldn't even really tell you much about it because I blocked it all out. Don't recommend. Then I read The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. Loved. 5 out of 5. Great time. This one, a woman works at a coffee shop, and this man comes in every day and talks to her, and it's really casual. She loves the old man as a customer, and one day while she's there, it starts snowing. She goes to look and at it, and when she turns back around, he's dead. He had like a heart attack or a stroke or something and died. Well, when she calls the paramedics, and they come and get him and leave. After they leave, she's cleaning up the shop and she sees a journal or like a book underneath the table, finds it, and it turns out that it's a book of doors. So you hold it and you think about a door that you would like to go to, that you open a door, and on the other side is what is on the other side of the door that you want it to go to. So her and her roommate have a lot of fun with it until murders show up because it's a hot commodity. Apparently, there's a lot of these kinds of books that do different things, and this one is like a really sought after one for people who do know that it's out there because there's so many and they do so many different things that nobody really knows how many there are, and they've been scattered throughout history, throughout the world, and some people are hunters of them for funsies, and some of them are hunters for them for death, and they go into it. It is a great standalone novel. I enjoyed it. It's a lot of timey-wimey stuff, very Doctor Who-esque. If the person in this book's name was the Doctor, I wouldn't have blinked twice because it's a very Doctor Who-esque. Loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend. In fact, I could barely wait until I got to the end of this book before I told my friend that she needed to read this. So 5 out of 5 stars for The Book of Doors. Then I have A Crown of Ivy and Glass in it, and I'll read you I actually didn't even count this one towards my one here. I just counted it as like I don't have I got 0 stars. I did not get very far. It's 554 pages. I don't remember how far I got into it. I was listening to the audiobook, but the main character was so whiny and pompous, and I know that's let me read you the thing here. Lady Gemma Ashbourne seemingly has it all. She's young, gorgeous, and rich. Her family was anointed by the gods, blessed by with incredible abilities. Underneath her glittering facade, Gemma is just deeply sad. Years ago, her sister Mara was taken to the Middle Mist to guard against treacherous magic. Her mother abandoned the family. Her father and eldest sister, Farin, embroiled in a deadly feud with the mysterious Basque family, often forgets that Gemma exists. Worst of all, Gemma is the only Ashbourne to possess no magic. Instead, her body fights it like poison. Constantly ill, aching, and lonely with loneliness, Gemma craves love and yearns to belong. So because she's so sick all the time, she was supposed society dictated that since she was the youngest daughter, she was supposed to go defend against the middle mister or some shit. But because she was so sickly, she convinced the government men that came to pick her up to take her sister. And so her sister went to do that. And then years later, she starts to tell us about how bad she feels about that decision, that it should have been her, but she just couldn't because she was so sick and she would surely die. And now her sister's probably dead because of her and this, that, and the other. But then like she just goes on and talks about all of these goodly things. Well, and then they've got this like hedge maze or something, or maybe I was just imagining it as a hedge maze. I don't know. But it's like guarded by some kind of magic, and she's not supposed to go out there because by herself, because somebody else needs to go in before it and get the brunt of the magic so that it doesn't hurt her. Well, she just goes out there sometimes and then is sick, and her family's like, "Oh, sweet girl, why would you do that? You know that you can't handle it. We'll go back in the house and whatever." I Then she meets the devastatingly handsome Talon de Alester. His family destroyed themselves, seduced by a demon, and Talon, the only survivor, is determined to redeem their honor. Intrigued and enchanted, Gemma proposes a bargain. She'll help Talon navigate high society if he helps her destroy the Basques. According to the popular legend, a demon called the Man with the Three-Eyed Crown is behind the family's blood feud. Slay the demon in the feud. Okay, I must not have read any of this because what the hell? No, I, bad book. Don't read it. 0 out of 5 stars. Moving on. I then read Last Night in Twisted River by John Irving. Loved it. You'll have a video about that. Whenever I'm done you will have a video about that as soon as I'm done editing it because I've already filmed it. You were in my bedroom with me. Lucky you. Loved it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because I almost DNF'd it halfway through the book because I was like, oh my God, I get it. It's a true John Irving story about family and outcasts and a, a, a different outlook on, ooh, the word's right there, a different outlook on ethics. Um, a different take on ethics. This boy is born into a logging camp and is raised by his mother, who is the cook. He ends up loving cooking, and even after she passes away, cooks for the logging camp and ends up falling in love with his cousin, second cousin, or not quite second cousin, I think is what they call it. They have a kid, and then it is basically about the kid growing up. There's mistakes that are made. They have to go out on the run for the rest of their lives. And hi, editing Jess here. So the mom, the not quite cousin, ends up dying, and so then the rest of the story is about the little boy and the father life together as they travel the United States and then into Canada and stuff. So the mother is never really a part of the story except for whenever we find out that the cook falls in love with her, and then she's not there very much longer. It was really good. You get to follow everybody, and I love parents in John Irving books. They're so, well, I love the primary care parent, which is usually the dad. In John Irving books, they are so tolerant of the kids that kids can ask a million questions And they just keep answering the questions over and over and over again, even if it's the same question. It's very loving and tolerant and a great time. 4 out of 5 stars. Just know if you read it, just know that halfway through you're going, it was like at the 51% mark. I was like, okay, I'll power through a little bit more. And if I can't do it, like I found myself not wanting to like turn on, because I listened was an audiobook as well. Um, I was like, if it keeps on like this for 2 more chapters, then we're gonna have to stop. Well, it kept going, kept going. Luckily, I had a monotonous task at work, and so I just had it in my ears and kind of went on, and then finally it picked up again, and it was really good. So just know that if you do pick this book up, once you get to that 51%, you just got to chug along, and then it does get better. It's weird. All John Irving books are weird. I love him. He's my idol. My writing, I aspire for my writing to be like his. Very brave and uh trailblazing, I guess. It's not usually a word that I would say, but if you know John Irving, if you've read a John Irving book before, then you know what you're getting yourself into. If this is your first John Irving novel, then might I suggest The World According to Garp or A Widow for a Year first? Both of those books are really good and will be a better introduction. Read A Widow for a Year first, and then A World According to Garp. I read A World According to Garp first, loved it, was fantastic. Uh, you do need trigger warnings for that one. Didn't have trigger warnings for it. And boy, was I surprised at the very first chapter. uh, Going forward. So read A Widow for a Year, A World According to Garp, and then you will be ready for Last Night in Twisted River, because then you will understand his pacing and how he writes, and that just because things seem racist and sexist doesn't mean that that is how he feels or that is how he is wanting you to feel or expecting you to feel. He is making a point, even if it seems like he's not. Stick it out. It gets there. It gets there. So, Last Night in Twisted River, 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read His Majesty's Dragon by Naomi Novik, I guess is how you say it. That was a 3 star read. I really liked the dragon, Temeraire. The dragon just like broke my heart. It is part of a series. I won't be reading the rest of the series because it's a the reason why I liked this book is because it was setting up the story. And I mean, it's a 3 star read, but it was like a 3.5 star read. Anyway, 3 and a quarter, we would say. It was setting up the story, and we got to see Temeraire get hatched. Do you still call it? It's still called being born if it's hatched? Doesn't matter. Anyway, we got to see him and then grow up, and it was very fascinating the way that they portrayed dragons in this book. And he was a sweetheart. I love him and his emotional journeys and the bromance between him and his writer, Captain Will Lawrence. It's also a twisted telling of the Napoleonic Wars. That's where you lost me. Not the retelling of history. Like, I enjoyed that. That's clever, and I like that they took history and they just inserted dragons in there. I didn't like was the war part. Since it was based on actual events, they then started to get into like war tactics and um war tactics and warring and death and action, and I'm not an action girly. You see this cardigan? This cardigan is not the cardigan of an action girly. This is the cardigan of a girl who just wants to read about. This is the cardigan of a girl who just wants to read the Cinnamon Buns bookstore. Read that this month. Holy shit, blew me out of the water. Loved it. This is not. the cardigan of a girl who wants to read war stories. Even if I am minoring in history, hush your mouth. This is different. I like the people, not the shooting and stuff. Like, meh. Anyway, 3 out of 5 stars. If you like action, boy, are you going to like the end of this book, and probably the rest of the books. It does take a little bit for it to get to that point because they are world building. Is a good book, not for me, not for this cardigan girly. And then the last book that I read in the month of May, by the skin of my teeth, I finished it on the 29th. Started it on the 27th, ended it on the 29th. It's called The House of Biscayne Bay. Bisc- Biscayne Bay. Don't know how to say it. It was a bit of a mystery book. It is told by two perspectives. One from the people who originally built this house, and then from the perspective of this woman who lost her family and moved in with her sister. And her sister and her husband had bought this house after the original owners had passed away. It's really good. It's set between the two world wars. So they build the house right after World War One, and it's in Miami. It's like a retelling of the building of Miami the way it is currently. Because during World War One, there was not a lot of people there. Not a lot of people there. Land was cheap. People didn't want to live there because of mosquitoes, the peacocks. Oh, the peacocks. Uh, which just and I have heard a peacock scream before, or it's their sound, but they are very ominous in this book, let me tell you. But alligators and stuff like that, all of the dangerous animals that are there. It was, I guess, a story of the taming of Miami. I hate that. It was a good book. Enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars, 336 pages, not that long. Good book. I would recommend it. So that's all the books that I read in May. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books. If we're counting the one that I started, The Crown of Ivy and Glass, which I don't even know if I mentioned the name of it earlier. Dumb book. Don't read it. Don't recommend. 0 out of 5 stars. So dumb. So whiny. Um, so 11 books, doing pretty good so far this month. I've slowed down a lot because I was listening to a lot of books while I was working, um, and was having a really good time doing it. I had a really bad toothache at the end of May into June, and I think some of that was having to do with had an ear infection of some kind and some allergies and stuff, and so having these earplugs in really hurt my ear, and then ended up hurting my tooth as well. So I started reading on my Kindle, having a blast. I've been reading Dream Harbor, the Dream Harbor series by Laurie Gilmore. So good. I'm so behind what I was last month. I have only read 3 books. I've read The Cinnamon Bun Store, The A Poisoner's Tale, and The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. None of this is relevant for this video, but next month's video is probably going to be shorter. I don't know. We'll see. But thanks for listening to me yap. If you have any suggestions, now that you have sat here and listened to me yap about the books that I liked and didn't like, you kind of have a little bit of insight into what I like to read. If you have any suggestions, drop them down below. I love suggestions. Don't give me too much plot. I usually don't even read the back of books, which is how I get myself into situations where I read books like A Crown of Ivy and Glass. Drop them below and I'll put them on my Goodreads shelf and see if we can get to them. Thanks for joining me here in my living room. I will see you next time.